And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Thank you for making us a part of your Friday. Hi, Ben.
Hi there.
How's it going?
I just put new headphones on. I got new headphones. I try to not switch out my headphones very often, but these old ones were shedding, so I'd go home and I'd have black stuff all over my ears and face, and you asked me several times if I got my ears pierced because it looked like I had an earring. And now everything sounds different. The tone of these is completely different, so I'm going to be thrown off for 6 or 7 months probably until I get used to it.
You went with cheap Sonys like I have.
Yes, sir. Thrift store.
I learned fairly well. Maybe I should have learned the lesson faster being in radio. But you use the headphones every day. Other people sometimes take them, like they get jostled around in bags and all this. And like I remember I had some OG Skull candies, like when they were still a local company, you know. And I was like, oh, this is just the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
When they were broken. And Skull Candy's tough, and they actually their replacement.
I have several pairs I like.
Their replacement policy forever was absolutely incredible. But they'd break, and then I'd cry, and then I'd have to drive to Park City.
Right.
And I figured out, wow, it's just way easier to have some cheap Sonys that do the job. But
$15 to $20, you rip them off, you throw them in your bag, they disappear, whatever it is.
It's cool.
But you're right, the $100 pair of headphones, you got to take care of them. And you better not lose. A lot of those have the removable auxiliary cord, whatever the little plug is called. It's like, yeah, you lose that, then you're useless. So.
Well, and this is really dumb, but like David and Patrick both use the earbuds
I can't do that
every
at all.
day.
Yeah, I can't
No
do that.
thanks. And I know that it's a thing. People walk around with earbuds every day. I don't know how those people do it either. I find them so uncomfortable, and I think they're worse for your hearing. That may be fake news, but I heard that at some point.
My wife always has one in, and I'm like, are you listening to something else all the time?
The answer is yes.
And probably, yeah. She got a book or a podcast going. I'm just like, oh, you're just cruising through this life. It's always consuming something. It's good for her. She's much smarter than I am, but I'm always wondering what's going on in there.
I don't know. I'm to the point where I don't know if overstimulation is great for society. I'm not picking on your beloved.
You can. Yeah.
Not, but I find it alarming that in my waking moments, and I consider myself less on social media than most of my contemporaries, but the impulse to reach into my pocket and look at the Snap Talk or whatever when there's any sort of downtime is alarming.
It's a real sickness. I definitely have it.
It's alarming.
First thing I do in the morning.
You know, I used to, the only thing I did 2 times at once was, no, this isn't entirely true, but it used to be I just listened to the radio or whatever, or a podcast while I was mowing the lawn or doing something mundane. Like I have to have background music or something going on, or I think something is wrong. I mean, I think our ability to be alone and focus for a few minutes is just way out of whack.
Yeah. Boredom and quiet are probably not the enemies that we've turned them into.
No, I don't think so.
Really tried to avoid them at all costs for very little reason.
And listen, I get uncomfortable with human interaction. I'm becoming increasingly bad at it the older I get. But I think like some of it is good for you.
Of course. Absolutely.
It's good for you.
Yep.
I would say, Ben, I'd put it at like 45% of my conversations with random, not random people, but random acquaintances, like I run into or whatever. Like 45% of them, I come away going, God, that was awkward. What is the matter with you?
I did such a bad job.
What is the matter with you?
I'm totally with you.
Every interaction I've ever had with Sarah Todd of the Deseret News.
Oh, okay.
I come away going,
that was weird.
That was the most. What am I on? What kind of person does she think that I am? Just a lunatic.
Sarah and I are really getting to know each other right now because Andy just quit or moved off of the jazz beat and is doing news stuff, and Ryan Miller is no longer there, and Tony Jones is no longer there. So this kind of large group that we used to eat dinner together is now down to Sarah and I, and now sometimes Kevin Reynolds, though Kevin's, I think, has joined us one time. Apparently we are not very likable, so shout out Kevin. And that's it. It's just me and Sarah eating. So I've had to get to know her better. So yeah, no more small talk.
No, which is awesome.
Yeah, actually, it's good to get to know somebody.
All my small talk with her has been
awkward.
Wow, she must just think I am a crazy person.
Yeah.
Which, shout out to her. Way to go.
Well, her
shout
husband is curing cancer. You can ask about that. Or ask about her dog.
You could just wait a little later to eat with us, right?
Yeah, then I missed the first quarter of the game.
No, you don't. I'm usually back upstairs by tip.
Yeah.
I mean, we're really shoveling it down.
Yeah,
I know
you
want to enjoy yourself.
Enjoy it. Anyways, apologies.
Derailed
us.
Anywho, yeah, derailed us from an actual interesting game. And I'm not talking about a win or a loss because it doesn't really matter at this point. I don't think they're going to catch the Pelicans because the Pelicans are going to continue to try and win. And
yeah, the question is Dallas, and even there's a two-game breather, and Dallas almost beat the Magic last night, which makes me think, again, that Dallas is just probably going to win a couple of games before the end of the season.
So I don't want to get caught up in the win and loss, but I mentioned this on the postgame, to juxtapose yesterday starting with the Jazz with today starting with the Jazz. And again, take the win or loss out of it because I don't care. There was nothing interesting about that Philadelphia game. I mean, you could, and I'm not saying nobody played well. You highlighted Elijah Harkless. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but it was one of the more uninteresting basketball games of the season. Just it felt like nothing happened, and the score was even reasonably close, but then followed by an epic collapse that almost seemed intentional. Nothing interesting.
Correct.
Last night, we packed that post-game show. There was like 100 interesting things to talk about from that game on both teams, really. And there was this random comparison all night of these young players that are in similar years or were in the same drafts that you can look head-to-head. Ace Bailey had my favorite part of Will Hardy in the postgame, said Ace Bailey had his best game. And then he caught himself, and he goes, his best offensive game of his career, which I died. Coaches are so funny. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still going to harp on your defense. I'm going to give you a compliment.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to harp on your defense, which is exactly what a coach should be doing. But I found it quite funny. I mean, Ace Bailey was great. Isaiah Collier was amazing. Phil was eating elbows all night. Uh-huh. Phil was like the toughest guy on the floor. Now, granted,
that's not saying a whole lot. Well,
Angel Reese's brother had 20 rebounds.
Yeah.
So there was that. But Phil played well. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. It was a different game. There were a lot of different interesting things I thought that happened in that game last night.
Keep talking. I'm sneezing.
No, you're all good.
No, I agree with you. Certainly Ace having his breakout scoring game, I think, was the talking point. And not to diminish what he did, though, the Wizards, I've honestly probably never seen worse rim defense in my life. I mean, there was an open lane to get to the rim every time you wanted to.
The whole game.
So Ace shoots 4 of 5 in the paint and 4 of 4 right at the rim. He doesn't do that most nights because he's not good finishing in traffic. He has not figured out that part of his game. And last night was a taste of what he will have to be, though I don't think it's an indication that he has arrived in that sense. The next time the Jazz play, has a shot blocker, which is going to be the next game against Milwaukee tomorrow, assuming Giannis Antetokounmpo plays, Ace is going to go right back to flailing and struggling when he, picks up his dribble and is trying to figure out how to finish at the basket. But I do think that taste of what his game should look like can benefit him, which is, hey, man, if I hit threes, it opens up the paint, and if I get to the paint, I'm going to score easily there too. That's where I need to be, because the mid-range jump shot is a great weapon as a last resort. It's a really bad first option, and he's kind of reverse-engineered his offensive game because the best players in the league, the true stars of the NBA, can take mid-range jump shots. Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Jason Tatum,
Andre Drummond,
Luka Doncic. Those guys can actually get to 15 feet and say, well, you've taken everything else away, but you can't take everything away. So I'm going to pull up from 15 feet and shoot over you, and Ace will be able to do that. Right now, he does that first, and he needs to make that last. And last night was the best taste of that. And the good part of it is, you kind of saw the alternate reality for the Jazz. Had they drafted Trey Johnson instead, and while Trey Johnson's fine and has been a good player this year and was drafted one pick behind Ace Bagley, there's just a big difference between being 6'8" and 6'5", and Ace has it.
Well, and then Isaiah Collier running circles around old Bub.
Yeah,
there's
who stinks. Bub's
right.
bad. Trading him for Deni Avdija is an all-time bad trade. It's how you become the Wizards. Because Deni Avdija was an all-star this year, and Bub Carrington is probably going to be out of the league in a couple of seasons.
Let me give you an example to illustrate my point responding to your Ace Bailey, because I don't agree or disagree about the Wizards by any means. But rewind to when old Rudy was playing in the playoffs against the Rockets, and they guarded him with P.J. Tucker. You remember that series?
Yes.
Remember what I'm talking about? And I remember silly me went on the radio and said, God, Rudy just has how many inches on P.J. Tucker? He just needs to run over that guy and dunk in his face all night. And then it never happened. And then fast forward to years past that, when teams are guarding Rudy with guards, and I'm thinking to myself, why on earth isn't he running over that guard and dunking right in his face? And then it just never happened.
Yeah.
At least he's doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
At least he's doing it, right? You say, "Oh man, why aren't you doing that when I don't know, enter great rim protector here is roaming the paint?" Well, start doing it against the Wizards when they're barely trying. And then figure it out from there.
You do have to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere, and to actually do it, I do think is relevant, because that's what rookie seasons are all about. They're about having experiences and building on them, because you've never done it before. You can apply it to everything in life. I could tell you the first year I was a program director, Ben, God, I learned lessons. And you know what? I was really terrible at it, to be honest. I mean, you just learn whatever. When you're thrown into the deep end, you learn so fast. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Alex Jensen is going to tell you, holy cow, what did I learn in my first year? What did I do wrong in my first year? The list is going to be long.
Yeah.
I know BYU had a good year last year, but I'm sure the list was long for Kevin Young. And you know what? It doesn't end. It doesn't end with your first year. I'm sure the list got longer with year number 2. I mean, it's just that's kind of how life works. And so if you're a rookie and you can figure it out and you say, I'm going to make this team pay for not having a bigger guy at the rim or not playing a better perimeter defense or whatever the case may be, you got to do it. You got to start somewhere, yeah.
The other thing I watched last night was Trae Young, who actually ended up with a positive plus-minus in 19 minutes. He was +4.
He stinks.
He had 12 points and 6 assists and 3 turnovers, and it was a very mixed bag from Trae Young. But, man, I remember some conversations 3 years ago, 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago about should the Jazz just go get Trae Young? Should the Jazz, understanding that you're paying a pretty low cost for Trae Young, go bring him in? He's an all-star 4-time. He's kind of a one-man offense. Is that a guy that you should just say, hey, if you want to win regular season games, he gets you there, and then you figure out all the pieces around him, even though he makes $40 million a year? And watching last night, I just remember thinking, this has been a really painful 4 years for the Jazz. It's not been the most exciting basketball to cover, but whatever. I love my job. I'm glad for Jazz fans that they are not sitting there with Lauri Markkanen and Trae Young instead of Lauri Markkanen, Ace Bailey, who you probably don't get because you win too many regular season games with Trae Young. Without Jaren Jackson Jr., who you don't have because you've used your draft picks or trade assets elsewhere. And you don't have Keontae George because Keontae is either moved out for Trae Young and now he's shining in Atlanta, or you just don't give him a chance to develop and you never figure out what he is. Because I think there's probably a real argument that going forward, Keontae George might be better than Trae Young already. And by being patient with him, you do wind up with a player like Ace Bailey. We'll see if Ace Bailey becomes a star. Christian's doing a bad job training. And then you also have Jaren Jackson Jr. Get used to that. Christian's training his paternity replacement for the moment. And then you have Jaren Jackson Jr., who we only saw for 3 games, but plays both sides of the floor and might be an actual difference maker versus a high statistical output player who doesn't really change the quality of your team. That was what I thought, is that the Jazz could have skipped steps. In fact, they probably could have had Anthony Davis too, and they didn't. And in 2 years, where do you think the Wizards are going to be? Are they going to be in the second round of the playoffs, or are they going to be entering their next rebuild?
Wait, what was the name of the team again?
The Wizards?
The latter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're going to be entering the second or probably third stage of their current rebuild, getting off of Trae Young and Anthony Davis to start all over again.
You got to find a new word than rebuild, because perpetual rebuild.
Correct. It's not a rebuild. You're not anything.
Not a rebuild.
Nor are you building anything.
You
might be re-ing something.
Letting the old maid get you to the play-in is not like building in the first place.
Yeah. Can you believe they got off the old maid and they got 2 back?
Yeah,
How did that happen with the Wizards?
Because it's the Wizards. Listen, okay, Mike Smith to the pregame show if we're going to talk about the Wizards, he brought an interesting theory about what they're doing. He said he thinks they acquired Trae and Anthony Davis just to trade them.
Okay.
Because, you and I have talked about this, but the theory of having all these young guns and then bringing in these geezers to pair with them is how you make it to the next level, right?
Uh-huh.
The Rockets are kind of doing something similar. But Mike thinks they're going to just flip them. And I told Mike, because I don't think they're going to, I think they're going to give this a go. But I told Mike, I said, have you watched the Gilbert Arenas documentary on Netflix? Have you seen it, Ben?
I have not, no.
You have not. It's worth a watch. I've told you this before. I don't like how Netflix has kind of gotten into the business of PR washing controversial athletes, which is exactly what this thing is. But it is very entertaining. Mm-hmm. And you absolutely come away with the impression that the Wizards are a dysfunctional organization.
Yeah.
To even allow Gilbert Arenas to get away with what he got away with internally, you'd have to be a really dysfunctional organization. Expect them to make the wrong move all of the time.
Yeah.
Trading for Trae Young and Anthony Davis will bring 2 strong personalities into the locker room that will dominate the ball and the development of your Alex Sars, who are supposed to meld seamlessly with these geezers. And it won't work, and they'll be back to the drawing board, I'm sure. But the good news is they'll be paying the geezers instead of paying the young players. So it's the most Wizards thing of Wizards things. I remember when Locke brought up that Trae Young thing. It wasn't just Locke, but I remember,
it was not just Locke. That was certainly not pointing at David
I remember
Locke.
Locke talking about it on the station.
Okay.
Whether it was with me or somebody else, I don't exactly remember. But I remember Locke talking about it, and because Locke kind of likes Trae Young, because Trae Young's a stats guy. Trae Young's a stat box score packer. Locke loves that world. I'm not surprised that Locke has a more fond opinion on Trae Young than others, and it doesn't mean that Locke's wrong either. But I think that move would have been a disaster, an absolute disaster, not only in hindsight, but then.
Yeah.
You turn your franchise over to Trae Young just so you're kind of good enough to make to the playoffs? That just never made any sense. I didn't think it made any sense. I don't think it makes any sense for Washington. Mm-hmm. It's the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers thing. You think Anthony Davis is going to make way for Alex Sarr?
Right.
You think that's going to happen? You think he's be like, come here, young fella, and get under my wing? Anthony Davis thinks he's going to play till he's 50.
Mm-hmm. And wants to get paid again. All of these guys want to get their next contract. So they're not just going to take one for the team, especially the Wizards, who they have zero allegiance to.
Now, you could say that the Jazz moved up their window when they traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. I'll listen to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Why not? How old's Jaren Jackson Jr.?
26.
They moved the window like 2 years. You know what I mean? You traded for a player that's on the ascent. A player that if
you traded for a player who's younger than your best player.
Yes.
Yeah. And probably better than your formerly best player.
You're still a crazy young team. Mm-hmm. You're just not the youngest team in the league. Mm-hmm. Washington's trying to put a bunch of developing guys that need time and attention with a couple of vets, to put it nicely, that are going to come in and suck all of the air out of the room. It's the worst of both scenarios. Those two together aren't going to be good enough to win anything, and the rest of your guys are going to hate standing there watching it.
And like the best case scenario for Washington, and it's somewhat realistic, it's at least a 30% chance and probably going to end up being 40% chance on lottery night, is that they win the lottery or they win one of the top 3 spots and they get one of A.J. DiBonta, Darren Peterson, or Cam Boozer. Great, you bring them in right away and they want to play. Now you have to get off of Trae Young and Anthony Davis because you have the franchise piece that you're actually going to build around, but you reset your window to 3 or 4 years from now when that player is going to be good.
Yeah.
But now everybody knows you have to get off of these players so their value drops even quicker. I mean, that's the weird part of all this. Like, why didn't they just wait to do any of these this summer? They easily could have just waited to do these this summer after figuring out what happens in the lottery and continue to pay a low price for it because nobody else clearly was knocking on the door to get either Trae Young or Anthony Davis because you got them for peanuts. And that is the value. You got them for nothing, essentially. But you could have gotten them for nothing later and had a better sense of what your roster is actually going to look like. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
It's the Wizards.
It is the Wizards. That's what it is.
Wizards.
They just got a little desperate. They got a little frustrated by how many games they were losing, which the Jazz were in that same spot, and they just grinned and bared it. And now they are probably going to reap the rewards of it this offseason. The Jazz will, and going into the next few years. And I think the Wizards are going to be back to where they were 6 months ago with the headache of trying to get out of a couple of bad contracts in the way or on the way.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Coming up right around the corner. The Mammoth. With a big win last night on the road. We'll talk about that. College basketball as well. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The sports you love. The teams you can't live without.
Get a sense of urgency!
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Oh, man. We're headed for more cats in the wall with in regards to tanking, Ben. I just saw a quote from Adam Silver.
Okay.
This isn't part of top 3 stories. We'll get right to it. But he said, we're going to make substantial changes, blah, blah, blah. One hand, you can completely divorce the draft from teams' records. That would be a major shock to the system. Not to completely forecast where we're going, but I am an incrementalist.
Okay.
That means I'm a cat herder.
Yeah.
We're going to heave those things right into the wall.
Let's do it.
Incrementally get more cats behind the wall. That's exactly what he just said.
Yep.
Anyway.
Don't have a lot of faith in it.
All right. Top 3 stories of the day, KSLSports.com. Brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right. Sean is filling in for Christian or training today because Christian is, well, not Christian, but his wife is having a child. They are having a child, and he's going to be out for a while.
You think it's Christians?
Yes.
I didn't know.
I mean, I've never met his mailman, but
I've never met his wife. Actually, I did meet his wife outside of a hockey game one time.
Anyway, Sean, where are we starting today?
College basketball regular season wraps up this weekend.
BYU taking on Texas Tech and could use a win and a momentum builder going into the tournament, though. Tournament's just going to be a different beast entirely.
Which tournament?
The Big 12.
I think they probably need to win a couple of games in the Big 12 tournament.
To feel good about themselves?
Yeah, and you know what? Texas Tech would be another tier one win, right? So it really wouldn't hurt to put that on the resume either.
Absolutely.
Forget how they're playing. I mean, we're still talking about the pageant that is the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee show, whatever. So you gotta do as much for yourself as you can. I don't want to see the Cougs quit. I don't know. I don't want to be over dramatic, but it feels like it's spiraling a tad.
No question about it.
Usually when that happens, it can go one of two ways.
JT Toppin of the Texas Tech Red Raiders tore up his knee on February 17th I'm trying to go back to the dates here. They have not played terribly poorly since then. They are 3-1 in their last 4.
Yeah, they've been pretty good.
So they have been able to keep this afloat. Now, JT Toppin was not as critical to Texas Tech as AJ DeBonsa is to BYU, though he is older, and some of those mature guys certainly are beneficial to these rosters. But Texas Tech's been able to keep their head above water. In fact, it moved up in the rankings with a big win over Iowa State. Now, BYU was also able to beat Iowa State recently, but this game for Texas Tech was on the road. What I'm trying to say is, just because you have an injury, it doesn't need to sink your season. And BYU could build up some momentum with the win over Texas Tech to close out the year. And this game is going to be at home coming up tomorrow night, where BYU is generally very strong. That would be great.
Yeah, Toppin was probably the best player in the league, so let's not undersell what Texas Tech is doing. They deserve a ton of credit. You'll lose an impact player like that. Don't let it ruin your season. That's exactly what they're doing. With that in mind, BYU's got to dig deep and figure out how to do the same thing, honestly.
Utah closes the regular season on the road at Baylor.
Whatever.
They have been disastrous this year.
The title's on the line in Logan, bro. That's the big. We're burying the lead.
Yeah.
Utah State.
Well, they've already got a share of the title.
Taking on New Mexico for the outright Mountain West regular season title.
Yeah. And we had talked about this. Maybe they have some work to do to make sure they get into the NCAA tournament. Winning the Mountain West Conference, which is a decent league. It's not the best it's ever been this year, but is a decent league. Winning it outright is a real feather in your cap. You know, that probably does allow you to have an earlier than expected exit in the conference tournament and still get there. You don't have to win to be in. That would be beneficial for them.
It would. But you know what? I'm old enough to remember Stu Morrill's last press conference. I think it was his last one. We'd have to talk to Scotty. But I was there. It was in Vegas, conference tournament. Utah State lost. Again, it all gets really fuzzy. But I asked him about what it was going to be like to compete in the Mountain West. I mean, we're talking about a team that had gone from the Big West, which is what I like to call the California Bus League, where the best team that you play every year was whoever you got in the Gosner Foods Classic, and maybe Pacific if it was the once a decade that they were good. You know, I mean, it just was not. They were a good team in the smallest of ponds. And I remember what a big deal it was when they went to the WAC. And then they held their own in the WAC. And, you know, the point being, Stu Morrill said, this is going to be brutal. This is going to be tough. The Mountain West is a good basketball league. And so anytime the Utah State can win that league, regular season, postseason, or whatever, it's a real feather in the cap to that basketball program. I mean, it is. You can win in Logan.
Utah State is playing their worst basketball of the season. They've lost 3 of 4, including blowout losses to San Diego State and UNLV. They did get a win over Grand Canyon sandwiched in there, and it is notable that 3 of their 4 losses, the 3 have all been on the road, and their win has been at home, where they are hosting New Mexico. And they did beat New Mexico on the road by 20 earlier this season, and New Mexico is also not playing its best basketball this season.
They just lost to Boise State. Yeah.
They've lost 2 of 3, opening the door for this situation.
Boise stinks.
Yeah. So this is a very winnable game.
Boise's having a bad year, and they beat New Mexico. It's funny, this backwards race to not win the league in the Mountain West this year.
Yeah, late.
It's like, no, we don't want to win it.
You take it.
It's yours.
2 p.m. tomorrow.
I bet you the Aggies bounce back in Logan.
I think so too.
It's a nice home court advantage. It
Huge.
helps. I mean, it will help BYU too, but
matters more for Utah State than it does BYU.
Yes, yeah, the conference title's on the line. All right, next.
Ace Bailey gets career-high 32 points and win against Wizards.
Shot very well from the three-point line. Again, this is his biggest games in college. This is what he looked like. He just hit a bunch of threes. He can get extremely hot. And I was a little surprised it took 60 games for it to happen in the NBA. In all honesty, I just thought he would have one of these earlier. He hasn't had as much opportunity to have games like this. However, I think the Jazz have used that opportunity to develop him into a much better overall player, as Will Hardy sternly told me one time. If we wanted Ace Bailey to make the Rising Stars Challenge, we would have just let him go out there and shoot, and he would have had far more 30-point games. In fact, there's a real chance Ace Bailey could have led the NBA for rookie 30-point games this season had you let him go out there and be the number one option since game one, which I think some teams would have. The Jazz really never opened up this opportunity for him, certainly not for a full 48 minutes.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. It's more important that he becomes a better player. What these rookies are doing matters not. It just doesn't. How do you follow it up? I've seen rookies that were terrible in their first year turn into all-stars. Do you remember how bad Gordon Hayward was his first year?
Correct.
Barely looked like he belonged in the league.
Yeah.
You know?
And maybe didn't.
Turned into a max contract guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've seen Wes Matthews play his way onto the Jazz roster in camp as an undrafted guy, turn into a key rotation piece, and sign I can't remember what the.
I mean, honestly, it was probably $6 million, but
per year.
regardless.
But the total, it was like a $50 million contract or something like that. He signed with Portland. I mean, you've seen it all. You can't count out players. That's a great part about the G League. It's just because you're not ready to go at 19 doesn't mean like at 24 you might be pretty good. Figure out a way to get yourself better, find a decent league to play, and go from there. I mean, the Joe Ingles story is a great story, right? Yeah. But I'm certainly not going to make any sort of judgment. I mean, if you want to be negative Nelly, you could go with the Ben Anderson take in the first segment of it barely counts because he did it against maybe the worst team ever assembled.
Correct, and that is true.
So, you know what I mean?
I have told you my theory, though, and I do believe in this. I want to see you accidentally have a good game in the NBA. I want to see you, if you're good enough to play in this league, the monkey and typewriter theory is that you get enough opportunities, something good should happen because you're just naturally that talented. You're naturally that gifted. Ace is naturally this gifted to score 30 points on a night when he just gets randomly hot. And he got randomly hot last night. And I don't expect this to come regularly. I do expect him to continue to improve as a basketball player and to grow into his body, which is truly an A-plus, aspect of his game. His physical tools are crazy. Once he builds out his body, his instrument a little bit more, and does refine his skills, he has a chance to be a truly hell of a player. And I think that was the taste you got last night. And you know what? Man, I don't know what to make exactly of Isaiah Collier, but there is something there. You just cannot deny 27 and 11, and that he can do that somewhat regularly. I think 27 was the career high also for him, right? He gets to 11 assists just by getting out of bed in the morning. And he does get into the paint whenever he wants, not just against the Wizards. He can get into the paint against every team in the NBA. So when the Jazz do run inevitably into some good defensive teams, his ability to do that will be an asset. And I don't know how they're going to use him. I don't know what his role is going to look like. But there is a real thing there with Isaiah Collier.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You should go back and listen to his walk-off interview with Locke where he talked about reading feet. It was really interesting. Yeah. And how he decided when to go and what way to go around somebody or go through them. It was like he's a learner.
Yeah, he knows. He knows what he's looking for.
He's absolutely
He's
a
not
learner.
accidentally doing any of this.
No, he's got a million positive traits and one negative.
Yeah. That's a big negative.
And it's a big negative because you can see it every night. They go under every screen. Yeah. And, if they do get up close enough to be blown by, he does it. But,
right. And when you get to a playoff series and they scout you and they actually know what you do, they will put a center on you and gap you, and that will blow up everything else.
So, yeah, love Collier. He does literally everything else at a more than serviceable level.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Mammoth goalie Vitek Vanecek stands out in shutout against win against Philadelphia.
The Mammoth get a very big win on the road against Philly. Philly has not had any success against the Mammoth in their short run here in the state of Utah. But yes, this game on the road to get a pretty dominant shutout. 3-0, they did need an empty netter, but I never really felt like Philly was close in this game. And they're good. That's a good team.
Learning more about this sport, but obviously the goalie position is pretty much the most important thing. And, if you have a good one, you're going to be pretty good. And if you don't, but when that good one misses and you can pick up wins and have good performances with your other goalies, which is another thing that needs to happen, as we discovered with Veggie at the end of last season, that's a big deal. And it's good to see the Mammoth. Well, I guess not good, but it does appear like the Mammoth are back on a positive trajectory. And if the loss against Chicago is the one blip, and that's all it turns out to be, then no big deal, right?
5-2-0 in their last 7 games. Yeah, started this road trip with back-to-back wins at Washington and at Philly. I do believe in easy wins. I think that's a nice thing. The game against Washington was hard. They were on their heels the entire third period. They were dominating this game against Philly, and now they've got 3 more games left on this road trip, including tomorrow on the road at Columbus. And still have the trade deadline coming up today.
By the way, the Mammoth now sit on 70 points.
And where are they in the standing? How many points do you have?
Let's
how
see.
far they are ahead?
In the wild card, they and yeah, we'll talk to Cole at 11:30. But they sit in the first wild card slot, and they are 3 points better than the Kraken.
How much better are they than the third wild card team?
The Sharks, they are 6 points better.
That's the number.
And the Sharks are tied with Kings.
Yeah.
And the Predators. Sorry for that matter.
So you can be the second wild card team. That's fine. You just can't be the third wild card team. That team's out of the
but you don't want to be the second wild card team either, because then you're just going to get steamrolled by the Avalanche.
Most likely.
Hardly a
gift.
A gift. Yeah, you want the I think you want the Mammoth to have a crack at moving into the second round.
Play those losers in Dallas.
Well, it would appear that they're not quite as daunting as the Avalanche.
Yeah. Or maybe even Minnesota catches them. So yeah. Absolutely.
And what do they know about hockey in Dallas? Are you kidding?
Right. It's going to be sunny when you're in the playoffs.
Unless there's a big oil derrick in the middle of the ice. I mean,
it's not their sport.
No. All right, stay tuned. We'll have. Are we going to do Connor coming up next?
Got Connor coming up next.
Okay, we've got a fun thing. A member of the staff has a
big weekend.
A big weekend, and we're going to help him out.
Excited for this.
Me too.
Did you see him?
No.
He looks insane.
Really?
He came in full tux.
Wow. Okay.
Like he's going right over after.
All right, we'll get to that. We'll set this up, and it has. I feel like we're particularly qualified to help Connor.
Okay.
So we're going to do that coming up next. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Who's got it better than us?
Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Want to remind you that our guy Scotty G is going to be at RGS Exteriors coming up on Monday from noon to 3, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. RGS Exteriors. Okay, we're really excited about this. We'll get back to talking NBA. Rusty Westbrook had a moment last night that we need to get to. But this is going to be fun because we've agreed to help. Ben and you and I are nothing if not helpful.
That's what we try to be.
Joining us in studio, Connor. And Connor does a lot of great stuff.
Connor, what do you do here?
What's your official title? Do you have a title? You do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so I'm a promotions assistant, but, I do on-site stuff with you guys.
Yeah.
And then I also do prize fulfillment with B. Fox and all the promotions managers up here, and then I also do some board hopping for FM and Arrow. So I'm kind of a jack of all trades.
But you have aspirations as a filmmaker.
Yes.
You've worked in the movie biz.
Yes, correct.
You worked on Bachelorette. What did you work on?
I worked on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Okay.
I've worked on.
Now you're talking Jake's language.
Love that show.
There was a Yo Gabba Gabba remake they did.
Okay.
They shot up in Park City. I worked on that. Most notably, I worked on Horizon, an American saga that's a Kevin Costner Western.
Yeah. They're not making the sequel, though. It doesn't seem like.
So the sequel's already done.
Yeah, they're not making the third one.
Yeah, correct.
Dang.
And then I've done a bunch of Hallmarks because Salt Lake is the home of Hallmark.
So we're borrowing you on your route to stardom.
Yes,
we're
exactly.
Just until you really make it. We're gonna have you come in and entertain us.
I'm shooting for the stars, but I landed on the moon right now.
You're not with any stars right here, pal.
Dude, I got to tell you, I rode in the elevator with Lisa Barlow last year at the Jazz game. I couldn't say anything. I was starstruck.
Yeah, I bet.
I talked to John Huntsman in the hallway over there like it was nothing. I see Lisa Barlow in the elevator. It's like, oh, it's Lisa Barlow. Anyway, tell her I say hi.
Will do.
All right, so here's the thing. You are the best man at a wedding that is upcoming. Not this weekend like Ben thought, but in a couple of weeks. And so you have to do the toast, correct?
Correct.
Now, have you ever been the best man?
No.
Have you gone to a lot of weddings?
I've gone to 2 weddings. So,
ever?
Yeah, and they were a while ago, so it's been a minute.
Okay, I have been to dozens, if not triple digits in the wedding department. This is like my thing. I've performed 6 weddings.
Wow.
I have only been the best man once, however. I've been in several lines, and I've seen good weddings. I've seen bad weddings. I've seen awkward weddings. I've seen it all. My buddy Justin got married. Half the wedding was devout LDS. The other half was the Sundowner biker gang. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's amazing.
Good times were had. but a lot of one side spent most of the time gazing at the other.
So, Connor, before we get to what we're going to listen to your best man speech,
Yes,
we're going
we
to give
are.
you tips.
Okay.
Do we know the demographic of who's getting married? Like, are there differences in the families? Do we know?
No, it's just a standard Arizona family. They're religious. Nothing too special. They don't have much of a personality, but
Great.
they're
Neither
fun.
do I. Cool. All right.
So no dirty words. We got it.
Yes, exactly.
All right. I said a bad word on my buddy's wedding video once. Regret it to this
Yeah,
day.
big mistake. So there's your first tip.
Huge mistake. Yeah, keep it clean.
All right.
All right.
Get started?
So
Yeah,
you're gonna read it to us, right?
Yep.
Now listen, we're not gonna sit over here and take notes. So we may stop you.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Okay? All right. So if we stop you, hold your place. Okay.
Will do.
Here we go.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Connor. I'm Kyle's long-lost brother who was apparently traded for Luke in the world's most confusing baby swap.
Okay.
Okay, wait. So are you evaluating these jokes in there? Is that what
Yeah.
you're giving your opinion? Okay. All right. Sorry. Proceed.
We're all chiming in.
Uh-huh.
I'm just kidding. We're best friends that met in college. Like all days Kyle and I spend together, today is a very special day. Today we're gathered to celebrate the union of two beautiful souls, two people that make each other stronger, complement each other, and make each other laugh. The wonderful Kyle Schaff and myself. However, the same sentiment can be made about the newlyweds. Maddie, when I met you, I knew you were the woman to put Kyle on the right track after his years of bad decisions, street fighting, and cheating his way through college.
A street fighting joke. Okay. I can get on board.
Yeah.
All right.
See, the joke is
Because he's
the furthest,
not
yeah,
a Street Fighter. Yeah. No, because you don't give Street Fighter vibes. I'm guessing your friends don't either.
Yeah, exactly. Kyle and I met early freshman year through my roommate Michael, Kyle's high school friend. I thought Kyle was cool, nothing special, your average Arizona white kid, kind of quiet, but I saw the potential.
I would take a minute to insult Michael here.
Yeah, right.
Is
You're missing a
Michael
chance to
going
really...
to be there?
No, he's not.
Oh, well, highlight
this
that.
is the best time. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Really?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, really clown.
Yeah,
All
work
right.
the body.
Really clown Michael.
Yeah.
Okay.
Notice Michael's not standing up here.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. There's a reason Michael didn't get invited.
Kind of quiet, but I saw the potential. However, that all changed when Kyle decided to take it upon himself to throw the biggest outdoor event Arizona has ever seen. I'm referring to Kyle's Campfire Bash. Me being the creative genius that I am, I led Kyle to collaborate on the event to ensure this party was one for the ages. And let me tell you, it was. We drove 45 minutes into the forest, had no idea where we were, but we had a dream. Caravans of students pulled up. Music was blaring, soda was flowing, and our only source of heat in the frigid Flagstaff nights was a large campfire in the middle of the party. I don't remember exactly how we got home, but the next day, I knew we just had a legendary moment in our college story. And that's where our friendship begins. The next 3 years, Kyle and I were inseparable.
Wait a minute. Is it just me, or do I feel like the party, like you could mine more there?
Yeah, there's something
You know what
in
I
this
mean?
party-
There's something other than you're being blacked out, which isn't entirely funny.
Correct.
I feel like you should.
Who said I was?
I need an anecdote.
I don't remember how I
need
got
an
home.
anecdote from the party.
Yeah,
Not just a
right.
30,000 foot view of the party.
Yeah, like he nearly lit himself on fire,
Yeah.
lighting the bonfire.
And you can lie
or
about it.
something.
Nobody cares. It's a wedding. You can lie about it. You should lie about it.
Absolutely.
But
The
I
bigger-
need something closer. I need something personal there because we're just a little too far away.
I feel like nobody is going to come be impressed by your giant party. There needs to be like a payoff there.
Yeah, there's got to be more story.
Yeah. All right.
All right, noted. The next 3 years, Kyle and I were inseparable. We became roommates the very next year and stuck together for the rest of our time at NAU. We did everything together.
Again, insult Michael here.
Yeah, you're missing you're missing chances
you
to
got to
work on Michael.
clown Michael right
Michael's
there.
alive.
Correct.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
if he's
yeah,
like dead.
Get
don't-
after it. Yeah.
Yeah, be careful with the jokes.
We did everything together. We had the same friend group, we cooked together, we watched sports together, and we made questionable life choices together. We really did it all.
Including being friends with Michael.
Including-
Yeah.
Like life choices. I get you're making a joke there, but like I'm picturing you're on mescaline or something. Maybe you got to
Correct.
like hammer
Right.
that
You're talking
out.
about this
yeah.
Flagstaff
Yeah,
weather.
like making
we
bad
doing
life
here?
decisions. Yeah,
Yeah.
What are you like leaving the milk in the fridge too long? You know what I mean? Or
More personal.
Like yeah.
All right. Sophomore year, we shared a room with 2 beds and a set of roommates across the hall. The room was a little small, but we made it work. We had the cops called on us a couple times, and we were in fact victims of student-on-student crime. Let me paint the picture. It was a regular evening, you know. Class was over. Kyle and I walked to the local restaurant on campus to pick up dinner. Sorry. As we were walking home, this guy came down on a bike out of nowhere. He goes up to Kyle, slaps the food out of Kyle's hand, spreading the food all over the pavement. I felt so bad that we walked back and I bought him a brand new meal. Safe to say, along with being a great roommate to Kyle, I am also Kyle's savior. All right.
Where's the crickets?
Yeah.
Play the crickets there.
I'm trying my hardest, guys.
No, you're doing great.
No, you're killing it.
That's why we're here. We're giving you tips. We're glad the wedding isn't this weekend, but we'll work on it. We got time.
All right. Junior and senior year, we moved to an apartment with our own rooms and our own friend group, and a bigger friend group as our friend group expanded because Kyle joined an intramural soccer team where he met Javi and his brother Jonah. This was great because we can now have the cops called on us somewhere else that wasn't our apartment. We could be shining students back at home, but when the weekend rolled around, we could have fun somewhere else. But in reality, Kyle's the furthest from a crazy guy. He's the funniest, kindest, and most hardworking guy I know. Just sometimes he can be a crummy roommate. Maddie, if I can give you any tips on living with Kyle, it would be to know he's definitely not a morning person, and he's not the best at washing the dishes, but other than that, living with Kyle is a breeze.
Did he have any other funny quirks? Like I had a lot of roommates in my single days.
Do you know Kyle?
And they're all crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
We need more personal relationship stuff here with Kyle.
Okay.
Like funny, I don't know if he had somebody once I had a roommate that teased me that all I had in my fridge ever was beer and condiments.
I'm glad you said condiments. Okay.
That's kind of funny. Like what's a funny quirk?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Find a funny personal note that's not dishes or what was the other one? Morning person. Who is?
Yeah.
And apparently, with you guys getting the cops called on you all this time,
That's a good start to a story.
None of those guys are morning people.
I like the start to the story with the cops. I need a better payoff.
But see, the cops calling us wasn't through Kyle. It was through our roommate Michael, a separate Michael, not the one I mentioned earlier.
Not the same Michael.
Nope, not the same Michael. He walked around campus at night with the Purge, the movie The Purge.
Uh-huh.
He walked around with a mask and was just following people.
Yeah, you can't do
Oh,
that.
you should be arrested. Yeah,
Yeah, they go to
that's
jail.
called stalking.
Yeah.
Who are you hanging out with?
Yeah.
It was a roommate. We were paired up.
Okay.
Listen, Kyle's my right hand, but I didn't know this Michael kid.
All right.
This is the last paragraph.
Let's hear it.
It's a little somber, so if you have the tissues ready, I'd get them ready. I was raised an only child with no cousins in the picture, so I spent my childhood always looking for a brother. I'm happy to share that I found that brother in Kyle Schuff. Our relationship means the world to me, and I'm elated to see you find the person that you can share life with, grow old with, and start a family with. No matter if you laughed, cried, or were taken aback by some of the stories I shared tonight, I hope you came to the conclusion that Kyle Schuff is one of one. Kyle and Maddie, your love story is one for the ages. If we could all raise our glasses and toast to Kyle and the second best person Kyle will ever share a room with. Cheers.
Really taking some shots at the wife here. Really taking some shots at the bride.
I met her once. She was cool.
You should add another joke at the end, like, if you don't think I did a good job, this probably won't be the last time Kyle's getting married.
I would make fun of yourself more.
Okay.
Maybe the bride less. And I actually might start with your last paragraph first.
Really?
If I had to give sincere advice, and I like, it's so easy when doing speeches like this to talk about yourself.
Uh-huh.
Mix in more Kyle. Like, mix in, like, why Kyle was a genius behind the party or whatever. I'd say more detail on the Kyle front. And embarrass him a little bit. The best speeches have a little embarrassment. Not, like, humiliate the guy.
I don't know. Was the student-on-student crime not embarrassing?
Okay, no, that was good. Yeah.
Man, I'm just getting flamed.
I'm taking it easy on the bride. This is her big day.
I like the overall sentiment.
The sentiment's there.
I like the overall sentiment. It's good. The stuff at the end is good.
Start there. Start at the end. And rework it, re-engineer it backwards. I mean,
that was the
start
close.
nice and sincere, and that's fine.
But the brothers
start there walk through some of the funny parties, get a little more personal with the party, not revealing any secrets, but, a little more, this is why this party worked, or what Kyle brought to the party outside of he threw the party. Then we got in trouble with the police, and then go back to the sincerity. We want a sincerity sandwich.
The truth is you've got a plan, which actually is what really matters. Have you ever seen anybody stand up to do the toast when they have no clue what's coming?
Yeah.
Rough.
That's trouble.
Right.
Yeah, rough.
Okay.
So you've got a plan.
Okay.
Now, if you want to pull what does the Trump call it? Like the funny asides where you get away from what you wrote. And sometimes those little genuine moments can be good. Like you get off and do a little like break the third wall or whatever they say.
Have you run this through ChatGPT yet?
I had some big help from ChatGPT.
Okay.
So
all right.
It knows the speech very well.
It does.
Better than I know myself.
That's good. Good luck.
Thank you.
And good luck to your buddy. You think those crazy kids are going to make it?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
Okay.
They seem in love.
Is it a destination wedding?
No, so they're from Phoenix, and it's gonna be in Phoenix. So,
Okay.
and I think Mesa.
Destination wedding makes for a different vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
How is it going to be a big wedding?
I don't know. It was kind of put together. It feels like it was kind of put together the last minute. So
I feel like the follow-up question is there, but I'm not sure if I want to ask
Mention
it.
that. Ask why this came upon so quickly.
Bring that up.
yeah, I'm just trying. Okay, so his parents are pretty religious, and I'm just trying not to be offensive.
Sure, you're not trying to offend anybody.
Yeah.
I get that. You don't need to insult him or reveal his darkest secrets from college. I think that's fine.
But he doesn't really have any dark secrets. Like he was a pretty standard guy.
Pretty boring kid?
Yeah, nothing too special.
Yeah, but he washed his underwear in the sink or something. Like you gotta find some. I've had every roommate I've ever had has a quirky, maddening thing.
All right.
You can find it.
All right. I'll think.
Yeah,
We're rooting for you, Connor.
like
Good job.
Like armpit hairs on the soap or something. All right, Connor. Good luck. Thanks for this. Was fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
All
guys.
right, more next. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Who's got it better than us?
Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Join Scotty G coming up today from noon to 3 at Tim Daly Mazda and Sandy, 10785 South Auto Mall Drive. That was fun helping Connor. I wonder how it's going to go.
B, we're gonna check in with him post wedding, so he's gonna come back. That was the first half of this 2-movie release. Be nice to the bride, especially if you don't know her very well. Be one thing if like your friend was the bride and you were teasing her. Your friend's wife now coming into this friend group, be extra nice to her. That's the advice.
Or just pour it on. I mean, just clown
Just hammer her?
Just
Just
make
embarrass
it
her.
Make it a roast.
Yeah. Talk about how much you liked his ex-girlfriend.
You know, I don't know you well, but I'm pretty glad about that. You seem unpleasant.
Connor stopped. What was his name? What's his friend's name?
Kyle?
Kyle stopped coming around when you showed up. And that's the best thing that ever happened to us.
I don't even know why I'm here.
I don't know why I'm here.
All right, well, let's play this Rusty Westbrook sound. And I'm extremely happy I haven't heard it, so I'm going in fresh.
Last night, after another Kings loss, they lost to the Pelicans, which is good for the Jazz. But Russell Westbrook was asked, how's he doing? How are things? And did not like it.
All right.
What y'all think, though? Because y'all got a lot of answers and y'all always be talking. Oh, it's very interesting. You guys have a lot of opinions about how we do what we doing. What you got? No, you. Yeah, you make a lot of statements and broad statements that you have no context. So where do you get your context from? Are you in practice? Are you at our film session? Are you anywhere around the building? No, I haven't seen you at practice. So the false context of, and actually, do you know me? I know you. No, you don't know me. You don't know me. You don't know me. But you make a lot of comments as though you do know me. No, you don't. My intent, I see it. But I'm asking you now, but you don't know me, right? So you don't know anything about me. Not you personally. Thank you. That's good. Anybody else? You guys have any comments about how we play, what we doing? You guys are quiet today, but you guys have a lot of comments when the game's going on, after the game, what we doing, what we should be doing, how we should be doing it. I'm confused. Oh, let me hear. You must have been in our film session too.
I'm not in your film session, but you guys have the worst record in the NBA.
Cool.
You guys have been bottom 3 in offense and defense throughout the year.
Perfect.
So, I mean, I think that's fair to.
What's fair?
It's fair to point that out.
That's been pointed out, but that's not the only thing that's been talked about. What else is to point out?
Well, I can only speak for myself. But
Yeah, but that's not the only thing you say. I've seen things you say. It's not just about our offense and our defense and what our record is. We've been the worst record for a long time now.
What have I said?
I don't want to go down the round, but I mean, we can. I'm asking you. You have a lot of things to say, so this is your time. This is the floor to say it. This is the time.
I just think in sports when
It's the time.
teams don't have success,
Right.
they're up for
You
this.
think that we should have success, right? Do you feel that way?
That
I mean,
you
a lot of you
should
guys
have
feel,
success?
huh?
That you should have success?
Yeah.
I think you guys are trying to have success, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good. What about you? What you think?
I think it's been a rough year for everybody.
Yeah.
And I mean, as somebody who's covered the league for a long time and this team
Yeah.
for a long time, this is by far the worst season I've.
Yeah.
So it goes on like that? Like that. Hilarious.
Like that?
Reminds me when old Rusty went after Napoleon. You remember that one?
I do. Oh, yeah, this has always been Russ's reputation.
Listen, my reaction to this is always, why on earth, if you're Rusty Westbrook, are you listening to them?
Yeah.
Answer the question and move on with your life. Why do you know what that teenager is saying? Why do you even know? By the way, I kind of admire that guy because he was standing up for himself, but
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
the voice cracking.
Yeah, poor timing on the voice cracking.
Mr. Westbrook,
It is.
your
and
team is terrible.
And look, it's a weird setup. You know, this was not a stand-up. This was Russ at the podium, so he's already elevated 5 feet, and then he's in a position of authority because he is the player. And he does have a much louder microphone than you. So there are some funny kind of dynamics here at play, which Russ can talk at a normal voice and be loud, and you have to kind of talk louder to be heard, and it does throw your voice off. It's why a lot of reporters don't like hearing their voices in replay, just as an aside. But yeah, I am curious why Russ is all of a sudden offended by this.
Okay, here's where I'll defend him just a little bit. And I don't know the dynamic of that other reporter that he was talking about, but there is a thing in media where they act overly familiar. And Russell Westbrook is saying, like, you have no idea who I am.
Correct.
And I'm sure that guy was running around talking like he and Rusty are best friends. And that is, there are people in the media that do that. And
the word he uses that I do like from Russ, and there's not a lot I like from Russ in this conversation, is intent. You like to describe my intent. We don't actually know what players' intent is. And I try to avoid writing about that. And I'm not defending myself against Russell Westbrook. The Kings are a joke, and Russ is a part of it. But we hammered them when they signed Russ because it didn't make any sense when they did it in the first place because we knew this was going to be the result.
Yeah.
But they also have a bozo head coach and who doesn't know what he's doing because he can't fix it. And I get they're trying to be bad and they're succeeding in being bad. That's the actual intent of the team. So again, we've talked about how inauthentic it is to almost criticize the Jazz right now. They're doing what they're intending. The Jazz are intending to be the worst basketball team they can to get a high draft pick. Trying to analyze that as player intent, I do think it's difficult. So in that sense, they are right. Russ is right. You don't know my intent. You don't know what the intent of the team is, et cetera, et cetera.
But media project all sorts of stuff.
They do, absolutely.
That happens all the time. That's
No
why I
question
don't
about
think Rusty should care. I don't understand why they care so much.
I agree. And then being mad of I don't see you in practice with the film sessions. It's correct. I'm not welcome there.
Nobody's allowed.
Nobody can go in there. So no, you don't get to say that that's a problem. I don't get to be there. This is the relationship you have designed. Guess what? We will take as many players as we can all the time. You want to come on the radio? Come be available. Come talk to us. Let us get to know you. We would love that. That makes our job easier, better, and more enjoyable. But they don't want to do that either.
Well, I think
so. Criticizing a reporter for that is silly from Russ.
Well, I think what athletes and others don't understand is that our job, and not everybody's, but our job in specific, just radio bozos, is we've got to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Our airtime where we have to have an opinion does not change based on how much or how less or little the availability is, right? So for you to say, well, you don't see any of this stuff, so you don't know what you're talking about, it's like, yeah, but I still have to have an opinion.
Correct. Yeah, that doesn't change my job.
That doesn't change the fact that I still have to take the information that I have and form it into an opinion. It's why so many people lean on stats all the time. It's because it's a way to justify whatever it is that your opinion that you have that you still have to have.
Yeah.
We cannot pop on the mic and just read dry transcripts from Jazz press conferences. We have to be engaging with listeners and have an opinion and be entertaining. And that doesn't change at all based on how much or how little you give us. So if you want media to be more informed, well, you can easily fix that.
Agreed.
If you want that reporter's opinions to get better, and the problem is that he doesn't know you, maybe you should introduce yourself if that's truly the problem.
Correct. And there are ways to do it.
Or you could just not care because that guy's opinion doesn't matter. Is that guy your general manager?
Right.
Then his opinion doesn't matter. Why do you care?
Yeah.
I never understood why Rudy Googled his name every day. I never understood that. Why would you?
But every player does. I mean, again, Kyle Anderson confronted me in the locker room about something I said about Ace Bailey. You've been in the league for 20 years now, Kyle. I mean, 15 years. And there's nothing wrong with standing up for your teammates, but that wasn't even standing up for his teammate. It was just like that. There is some vanity there, and that is the vanity that is still hurting you even 15 years in the league. Russ, 18 years in the league, however long he's been around, a Lock Hall of Famer. That it's not helping them. It's not serving them.
But when this sort of thing happens, like when people go after media or whatever, it actually makes me question whether you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because if you knew what you were talking about, you certainly would disregard an opinion to the contrary.
Well, look, there is a faction of fans that always think the media is the enemy or an idiot or, doesn't know anything about what they're talking about. And generally, I would tell you, is they're pretty well informed. They do know what's going on behind the scenes, probably even better than they reveal at times. So
they're not experts, though.
But
and
no,
that's
of course
what,
not.
That's
no,
what the word Draymond Green
information.
used.
They're absolutely right. And there is limited information. So there are going to be fans that like what Russ said overall because there's always a demographic that will because they think the media is the enemy or whoever covers the team is an idiot. But I also don't think Russ helped himself here. I don't think Russ made any friends here. And he's on his way out the door. This is his 7th team in 7 seasons, and there's a reason for that.
I don't get why he'd waste his time.
I'm totally with you.
Or waste his energy. Who cares? Just sit there and answer the question and then go about your personal life, which he knows nothing about.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned. Cole Bagley coming up next, NHL trade deadline day, and we'll ask him, too, about the Mammoth. He was in Philly for last night's win. That's straight ahead here on Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The sports you love, the teams you can't live without.
Get a sense of urgency!
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're teaming up with Beehive Meals, honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contests. Then listen every Thursday to JJ and Alex for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. Our next guest's appearance on the show is brought to you by Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. He covers the Mammoth for KSLSports.com. He's our buddy Cole Bagley. Hello, Cole.
How are you doing, guys?
Doing terrific. Before we talk about the big trade, let's talk about what happened last night. I thought that was a very impressive win, and probably among the turmoil and shorthanded without Sergachev, I thought they played extremely well.
Yeah, no, they did. Since this road trip started, it feels like they really took that loss to Chicago as a, kind of a learning moment. They allowed it to sting. They allowed it to motivate them to go on this 5-game trip and, pick up as many wins as possible. And that's what they need to do, right? You can't talk about, wanting to make a playoff push and secure a spot without locking things down and changing your mentality. And that's exactly what we saw, for, I think, the entire roster. You look at the forwards, they played a really sound game offensively. They were opportunistic. They were getting pucks in deep. They were winning battles. They were taking advantage of they continue to take advantage of power play opportunities. Clayton Keller scored a beautiful goal on the breakaway. And then defensively, they just really didn't allow the Flyers to get set up, right? They only allowed 16 shots. And, Vitek Vanecek made the most of his first opportunity between the pipes in about 6 weeks to lock it down, posted a shutout. So, yeah, I think as a group, this team, their kind of their entire mentality is right where it should be.
Eager to get your take on the big trade.
Yeah, I think Mackenzie Weegar is a good, really good defenseman, veteran defenseman who they got for great value. I know there was a lot of people that were concerned about the number of picks that they gave up, but look, kind of similar to the NBA, maybe not quite as extreme, but you get into the second round and it's just a lot harder to find good players. And for Utah, they already have more prospects that they can even sign, so those picks were essentially worthless. To that team, and they still have 7 selections to make in 2026, including their first rounder. So, yeah, I think not that Utah was necessarily lacking on their blue line, but if you can go out and you can bolster it just a little bit more, you can add more of a defensive-minded D-man that you can throw into your top 4. And what that does is it kind of balances things throughout all 3 lines. Not that the third pairing has been an issue, but the fact that, you're probably going to have to move Sean Dursey down from that top line. I don't imagine that they want to break up Nate Schmidt or John Marino. And so I would anticipate that you're probably going to see Ian Cole and Sean Dursey on that third pairing. And, that allows for some more offense throughout all 6 guys. So, yeah, I think it's a good trade. It helps add more veteran experience. And just bolsters that blue line a little bit more.
Do you think they're done before the trade deadline?
It's kind of looking that way. It's been pretty quiet, and I think the reasoning for that is not because of a lack of interest or Utah being unwilling to try and go buy, but this market right now is just so inflated. Teams are asking for astronomical returns for good players, but Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon are not on the trade block, but the prices. If you look at the prices, you might think that they would be. So, there's about an hour and a half left until the deadline. I'm sure that they're pounding the phones, that they're trying to continue to improve the roster. But given the way that this market has gone, it wouldn't shock me if they're done, because you don't want to mortgage your entire future. For just a good player. If you're going to do that, you want to be like the Minnesota Wild, who got arguably the second best defenseman in the world in Quinn Hughes.
Cole Bagley is with us. He covers the Mammoth for KSLSports.com. So with this kind of new weapon going forward, what kind of close do you expect from the season?
Sorry, what was that?
What kind of close do you expect from the Mammoth? Do you expect it to be a kind of close, hard kind of thing, cinch up that one wild card?
Yeah. Like I was talking about earlier, Utah wants to be the team that, they want to do basically what the Blues did last year, where, you rack up a bunch of wins, you start to kind of run away with it, and, you shrink the amount of teams that are competing for a spot. You make it more of a 1 or 2 team race as opposed to a 4 or 5. And if they can continue to keep that mindset, if they can play their game most nights, if they can stay connected, if they can stay motivated, and then adding, Weegar to that blue line, I think is going to help them. So, based on what we've seen so far on this road trip, the way that they've been able to kind of rebound and bounce back after that loss to Chicago, I think Mammoth fans should have a lot of hope that, that they're going to see some playoff hockey here in spring.
Cole, I'm trying to get a kind of macro understanding of how all this works in the NHL. And you talked about kind of the second round picks being almost worthless because they have so many young prospects. Taking this back to a little less than a year ago when they win the lottery and they move up and they are able to draft a player like Caleb Desnoyers, how much did that change the future outlook of the team and kind of how they can build and elevate their ceiling when they already had, a Tija Ginla in their coffers? How did that change things for them?
Yeah, it just gives you, there's so many things they could do with that, right? I think, when you look at lottery picks, those are always going to be golden. Doesn't matter, how deep your prospect pool. If you can add another player like, Caleb Desnoyers to, your Cole Baudouins and your Tija Ginlas and your Semishevs and your Boots, that's always going to, put you on a strong trajectory. I talked to Bill Armstrong the other day, and what he told me is this is the deepest and most talented prospect pool that he's ever overseen during his tenure in the National Hockey League. And so, it just depends on what Utah wants to do with that. As I said before, they do have too many prospects. Not all of these guys are going to wear a Mammoth sweater. And so you kind of have to start to separate them in terms of, okay, which ones do we anticipate, are going to play for us eventually, and which ones do we maybe need to look at trades and, use them to their advantage, right? Not to say that, Denoyer is one of those that's on the outside looking in, but there's certainly going to come a time where, they start to separate themselves. It could have been this deadline. It could be in the summer. It could be a year from now where, the writing's on the wall and they start to recognize, okay, let's just say, for example, that Aginla and another one of the prospects make the roster, to start next season. Then you're starting to look at, okay, well, which of these guys probably isn't, and, how can we use those, those players to our advantage, whether that is, betting on them or trading them, right? I mean, those are the types of, opportunities that you have to seize. That's when, you get a little luck and, it gives you an asset to either utilize on your own team or to try and flip it for something else. So, yeah, it changes the trajectory because it just continues to kind of make the rich even richer for Utah, if you will. And, I think that this team is in a really good spot. Now, they're reaching that point. Bill Armstrong's reaching the point where these are probably the most challenging years in terms of trade deadlines and summers, because he does have to make those decisions as to who's going to stay with the team and who are they going to use as an asset to bring in somebody else.
Ben and I were talking about the standings earlier, and the Mammoth are 3 points better than the Kraken in the second wild card slot, and then 6 points better than San Jose, the Kings, and the Predators. Two-part question. How important is it that they stay out of the 2 slot to avoid Colorado? And what do you think about their cushion above the teams behind them?
Yeah, I think it's really important. If you look at the the 2 divisions, right? Colorado is far and away the best team in the National Hockey League, and Dallas isn't overly too far behind them. And then Minnesota's just 3 points behind the Stars. And then if you look at the Pacific, it's Vegas at 72 points, Anaheim at 71, and Edmonton at 68. And so if the playoffs started today, Utah would be facing the Vegas Golden Knights, who they're only 2 points behind. I really like Utah's chances to not just push the Knights to the brink, but I think if Utah was to face Vegas, or let's say Anaheim overcomes Vegas and takes that top spot in the Pacific, Utah could win a series against either of those teams. They've played them pretty well so far this season. And, those aren't teams where I look at similarly to Colorado or Dallas, where you go, all right, Utah's going to face those teams. At best, they're probably winning 2 games. I would really think that if Utah can maintain that top wild card spot, they have a chance to make the second round. I don't know, where they would go beyond that, but I think it would be important, right? I mean, you don't want to just make the playoffs. If you can make the playoffs and gather as much experience as possible, if you can play 6, 7, 8 games and, win yourself a first-round series, that's obviously better than, jumping in and losing, 4 out of 6, and all of a sudden, your summer's already over. So I think it's really important in terms of the separation for themselves and all the teams below them. Yeah, I mean, they're 6 points ahead of San Jose, but San Jose has 3 games in hand. LA has a game in hand. And then, Seattle has a game in hand too. So for Utah, you just got to keep winning. You just got to keep pushing. You got to take every game as serious as a Game 7-like situation where, it's do or die. You got to pick up these points because, generally when it comes down the stretch, it's the teams, the teams that get in are the ones that can put together a really nice 10, 11, 12-game stretch where they're winning the vast majority of those and giving themselves a little bit of a buffer and some breathing rooms. So if they do hit a 2 or 3 game slide, that they're still well in position and they're not having to wait till the final day to try to get in.
How difficult is the rest of the season? How's the schedule look?
It's fairly favorable. It's not going to be easy by any means, but I think they have one of the more favorable schedules in the National Hockey League. They've played a lot of the top teams already. They get to play Chicago twice more, and obviously they just lost to Chicago earlier this last week. But that wasn't Utah. A lot of the guys have said, that wasn't us, and they used it as a wake-up call. So, that's advantageous. You're going to play, one of the lower teams in the West who has actually just made a couple of trades. So they're going to be hurting for talent here coming down the stretch. And the runway is there. Utah has every opportunity. They have every chance to get in. It's just going to be on themselves. It's going to be, do they decide, to play the 20 remaining games, as similarly as possible? Can they play their game, 80 or 90% of those nights and try to pick up, 13 or 14 more wins to make sure that they do in fact get in?
Cole, we appreciate you and all your great work. We'll be following along, as always, at KSLSports.com. Thanks, buddy.
Cole.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. That is Cole Bagley. He thinks they can beat the Golden Knights if they stay in that slot.
Yeah, a couple of points difference. We'll see. There's some experience that the Golden Knights have that the Mammoth don't as an entire roster, though several players have hoisted the cup themselves. So excited. It'll be a fun final 19 games.
All right, we wrap up the show. Coming up next, stay tuned. Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
1, 2, 3, move it.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Two niggas on their ways, talking sports. They got it made, Jake's and also loves his tie-dye. Ben's got style with his scarf. Oh my. From the islands to the basketball courts, they mainly engage in their thoughts. Jake's got wisdom beyond his years.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Thanks to Cole Bagley for jumping on. Want to remind you, JJ and Alex are going to be hanging out with the good folks from Advanced Windows today from 3 to 6 at the Home Show at Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Go hang out with those guys and check it out. Home Show is always cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
I remember when we were looking at our renovation, we started, for the most part, at the Home Show because you could find literally anything.
Yeah.
If you're looking for anything, including windows, of course, that have to do with your home, you can find it at the Home Show.
Do you expect more of this from Ace Bailey? 32 points last night. Is that going to be his season high?
No. Will it be a season high? I wouldn't predict that necessarily, but I don't know. We're not going to see anything consistently from Ace Bailey.
No, we're not.
No, I don't. I'm not going to put a lid on him and say that he can't do it again. But are we going to see it consistently, like you implied in your tweet when you jinxed him for having 20 points? No, we're not.
I agree with you. I don't think he may not get to 30 again. 30's hard. 30's a lot of points, but he does have the ability to do it. Clearly, he showed it last night. I don't know if the Jazz are going to play another team as bad as the Wizards were last night. Wizards wanted to lose that game too, and the Jazz weren't able to do it. I do think it's important to remember, and it gets overshadowed a little bit because both Cooper Flagg and Jeremiah Fears in last year's draft, both lottery picks, reclassified from their junior year to their senior year of high school so they could get to college early. They are both very, very young. They're a year ahead of everybody else. Ace is still younger than some of the freshmen in college this year. There are guys that are going to be drafted in this year's lottery, Caleb Wilson specifically from North Carolina, who is older than Ace Bailey is. Still college freshman, older than Ace. Like he's still shockingly young, even compared to most rookie players.
Yeah.
So the idea of like looking for consistency, it's like he doesn't have the human tools probably yet to be consistent. And he's still, I think, been very good.
Few rookies are consistent. It's
Right.
just a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect from him. Plus, the team's trying to lose.
Yeah. Again, to the Russell Westbrook, you don't know what the intent is. I do agree. The trying to draw intent or criticize the Kings for what they've done this year, This is part of their plan. Now, do I have any faith that the Kings can take the next step in the right direction? I do not. I don't think the Kings are going to be able to fix this. But, yeah, the idea of trying to hammer them for what they're putting on the court right now, and they're not trying to put anything on the court.
Well, do you think Rusty's feelings are just hurt that their ticket to lose is playing him?
It is not a great sign. And that when he didn't play, they did beat Dallas.
Do you know how many minutes he played last night?
I think this is the big complaint from people in Sacramento. I don't follow the Kings particularly closely, but I think he leads them in minutes most nights. Because he's helping them lose? Yes.
And has been that type of player for a while.
Yeah.
And that probably hurts his feelings, I'm guessing.
Correct. And people are pointing it out.
Because slow-mo, and you know, the more you think of Kyle Anderson's comments, it was when he was talking about the Jazz, is they're really interesting. Slow-mo, who the Jazz were playing at center to intentionally lose, really did not like that role.
Correct.
Being the guy that plays
like that.
You know, Ben, if somebody said, we want to put a really crappy show from 10 to noon.
Right.
And you are the key.
We're going to submarine the show.
You are the key to our crappy show.
We're trying to really make a move. So we're teaming you with this guy who's proven, but you're the bad host. It's not a good feeling.
No, I'm sure it's terrible. Well, Kyle Anderson obviously didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I would guess that Rusty doesn't either. And maybe he's a little sensitive over it. I could get that.
No question about it.
I can get on board. I think it was harmful for the Jazz to make Cody Williams the cooler last year.
Absolutely. And they did. Yeah. And good for Cody. He has bounced back. He's not a superstar by any means, but he didn't let that sink him.
He's functioning.
He's a better player today than he was a year ago.
The ideal way to do it is find the cooler that doesn't know that's what you're doing. Like Nurk.
You don't think Nurk knows?
No, I don't think Nurk knew.
The Nurk knows?
I don't think that beak knew. I still can't wait to see him after post surgery. He said that guy's the size of Nurk.
Face is totally different.
Totally different face. What happened to that guy? Thought he went in to get his snoring fixed. Came out looking like Clark Gable.
Yeah, you don't want to be the cooler.
You get your chin done too? No. And when you know you're the cooler, like Hot Dog had no idea he was the cooler. You know what I mean?
Correct. That's the best cooler the Jazz have had. He didn't know it.
Had no idea.
Obviously the cooler.
Just go in there and let Hot Dog eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how we can lose this one.
Hot Dog eat hot dog.
Hey, Hot Dog, you're playing 35 tonight.
You're taking 35. You're getting 35. You're scoring 35.
And the good news about Hot Dog is he had the energy for 10.
Hot
dog! And so if you asked him to go 35.
Coach, you're killing me. Whatever he takes, though, pal.
Whatever. Hey, keep going, Hot Dog. You've got 30, bro.
Whatever you need, boss.
Yeah. You got to find the cooler that doesn't know he's the cooler. Kyle Anderson obviously knew he was the cooler. Rusty obviously knows he's the cooler.
It's going to be hard to be in Sacramento and also know that they're going to fire your coach. Like, they can't bring Doug Christie back.
Sure they can. It's Sacramento.
Yeah, you're right. It would be one thing if they were Ty Corbining him and they just said, well, this is your last year and we're going to fire you because it's so bad, which I do think they will do. I mean, the best thing they could do is get their draft pick, hope it's in the top 3, get one of DeBonsa, Peterson, or Boozer, and clean house entirely and start all the way over. But they don't make those good decisions.
You remember Luke Walton was the assistant for Golden State when Steve Kerr was out with his back problems. And Golden State was still Golden State even though Steve Kerr wasn't there. The next season, the Lakers said, hey, we liked Luke Walton.
Yeah.
Wonder if this dude's a wonderkind. And then I think he was the coach of the Lakers for a season?
Not very long. Might have been 2, but it wasn't long.
The Kings looked at that and said,
but it might work for us.
Give me that coach. Who else? We should look at the cavalcade of bozos the Kings have gone through over the last 10 years. Last 15 years. Pretty much post Rick Adelman.
For coaches?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's been ugly.
And they even had I don't know, are we willing to call Mike Malone a good coach? I think we can throw him into that category. They had even a good coach, and they fired him.
Let's see. Here's their run of coaches. Doug Christie.
Yeah.
Mike Brown.
Okay.
Was fine.
He did a better job there than most.
Alvin Gentry.
Didn't do well.
Luke Walton.
Not a guy.
Dave Yeager.
Nope.
George Karl.
Oh, I forgot they dug George up.
Furious George.
Yeah.
Late in his career. You know who was right before George? Our guy, Ty Corbin.
Oh, yeah, they did. They hired Ty. Oh, he was interim.
And they had Michael Malone. Well, they fired Michael Malone and replaced him with Ty Corbin.
Well, yeah, again, interim. They didn't replace him.
Jeez, Keith Smart.
Keith Smart, yeah.
And Paul Westphal. Before that was former Jazz coach Kenny Natt.
Uh-huh.
Before that was Reggie Theus.
Yeah, Reg.
And then Musselman and Rick Adelman. So to your point.
And the Muscle Man was terrible there.
Musselman was 06 to 07. Reggie Theus 07 to 08. Kenny Natt 08 to 09. Paul Westphal 29 to 2012 or 09 to 2012. Keith Smart 12 to 13.
Wait, real funny that Westphal got 3 seasons and we're like, oh, see?
Yeah,
there's
right.
a guy who stayed.
Corbin 14 to 15. Carl 15 to 16. Yeager 16 to 19. They really stuck it out with Dave Yeager.
That guy
19
is
to 21.
an unpleasant person by all accounts, if you've ever talked to anybody that knows him.
They haven't had a coach 200 games since. They haven't hired a coach that lasted 200 games since 1998.
Yeah, buddy.
Now, Rick Adelman lasted from 98 to 2006. He coached 600 games. But, man, they have not had anybody.
No, and they just keep moving on. I mean, in defense of all these bozos, none of them ever really had a chance.
Mike Brown did have a winning percentage of .550, which is really high. Everyone else is insanely low.
Kevin Johnson should have just let him move.
Yeah, go to Seattle or whatever you're doing.
Just go.
Fine, go to Vegas. I don't care.
Well, we've got the A's in our AAA stadium.
We'll be fine.
We'll be all right. Scotty G and friends coming up next. We will talk to you
Sean.
Monday. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.